Hi, how are you?
Nice to see you
Yeah, you
again.
doing, yeah.
Good seeing you. Good, oh my
Here you go.
God, yes. they-
Okay.
I think I have some pictures actually. Oh, yes.
I'm gonna get started. You wanna sit, Mike, or you wanna stand?
No,
I hate doing this, I wanna get it over with, cause after I do this, I'm gonna have wine.
Well, just so you know, you're the center of attention right
Yeah,
now.
shut
It's okay, there's another chair
That's
here.
a stress reliever.
We're all watching
Just grab a
you.
chair.
Okay, I'm gonna start, I've written it out, of course, I can't remember anything, I'm just saying good afternoon, everyone, and I can't express how grateful my family is that everyone took time to come and honor our dad. I'm not sure I'm gonna get through this anyway.
I'll help you.
I'm not sure if everyone knows our family, I think I've introduced, but Dan has been by my side since this happened. He's shown lots and lots of patience, in normal anyways, but he was so good to Dad and would visit him and play cards with him. Dad was our biggest supporter in our cribbage games. Our 4-person cribbage team won the provincials for our Legion this past weekend, and all I could think of was telling Dad and how proud he would have been. And thanks, Dan. My good friend Lori from Ottawa has been supporting me as well, and thanks, Lori. My brother goes by a couple of different names.
Yeah.
Part of his circle call him Jim. We've always known him as Skip, and I'm sure we've called him several different names. But Skip has been my rock over the last few years, tag teaming, looking after our dad. Skip has a lovely wife, Pat, her son Michael, and Dad's grandson, who he was so proud of as well. Mike has always had a special place in Dad's heart. Skip's grandson and Dad's great-grandson, Connor, and Dad was so proud of Connor as well. He lit up every time he walked in, or when he showed up. Connor just came back from Cuba and he's in isolation, so Connor would have been here. My sister Kathy and her husband Guy. Kathy's been my rock as well, listening to all my frustrations and sadness. She made a point of coming to see Dad many times a year, and he was so proud of what you became. They have 2 daughters with families who couldn't make it today with the corona and all that stuff, but their love is here, and Dad loved you all. Dad left over a month and a half ago, and I have struggled through this, as many of you have known. I know he was 94, I know that he wasn't happy being here, and I knew he was in pain. Selfishly, I didn't care, and I didn't want him to leave. I made it a point to tell him every day how much he was loved. He sacrificed his life for his country over 70 years ago, and he lived a good life with my mom and his family. I can see them now playing cards and having a drink with the Beatties and his brothers and sisters and parents and the Willards and everybody, yeah. I'm now ready to let you go, Dad, on one condition. Look down on us and keep us safe. I'll never forget you and will love you forever. I have a few memories and I'd like to read. I know you're getting sick of my voice already, but I've asked people that couldn't make to send some memories. And I'm gonna read them and I'll read them quickly, but some are really special. This is from my mother's cousin in Ottawa. She said, "So very sorry. I remember Jim as a great sense of humor," and he did have a great sense of humor. John McKittrick, which is Jana's brother. My fondest memories of your dad was playing squash with him weekly. After the game, we go back to the condo and he would show pictures and talk about his time in the Air Force during World War II. His stories influenced my desire to join the forces and service our country, like your father and his brothers did. I also remember how excited Mom would get when he stopped by after visiting the Belleville Unilaw. This is from Stephen Stickles, which is Debbie's brother. I've lost everybody. Debbie. My memory of Uncle Jim would have to be when he came to visit. He would make you feel so special just by taking time to talk to you. He also seemed to have a great connection with Mom, as she would light up when he came in. And I know he sent Dad on a few occasions some money to help him out, which I thought made him super special. He understood how tough it was for your dad. Thanks, Stephen. This is from Kim, which is Kathy and Guy's daughter. I've been so blessed to have had a grandfather well into my 30s, and so grateful that my son had the opportunity to meet him. But it doesn't make it any easier to say goodbye. The last time I saw him, I traveled down with my son. When Papa saw Parker, he was so happy and full of joy. I will always remember his hugs and his smile. We traveled to Ontario to surprise my grandparents for their anniversary. My mom was waiting inside, and my sister and I were sitting around the fire. When my papa walked up, we were introduced to him as my cousin Shannon's friend, and couldn't stop pointing out to everyone how much we looked like his grandchildren, Tara and Kimmy. After going inside and seeing my mom, who was hiding there, he had realized who we actually were and having fun. I love visiting Papa in Florida, laying in the hammock, hunting geckos, and making fresh orange juice together. I love going for walks with him, although I could barely keep up, and very vividly remember walking around a random mall. I don't remember what we were doing there, I just remember being together. That's from Kitty.
Very sweet.
My granddaughter, Leslie's daughter, one of my fondest memories was Big Papa. She called him Big Papa. I was Nanny, my mother was Big Nanny, and my grandmother was Big Nanny. So, my mother said, please don't call me that. Heather and Big Papa was my dad, or our dad, and one of my fondest memories with Big Papa was those that we shared in Florida. I remember some of them like yesterday, unlike the so-called meeting of Hulk Hogan's kids. We did meet Hulk Hogan and his kids. I remember Nestle Quick cereal, my first introduction to grapefruit with lots of sugar. This glass had a reflection on it. Everyone was so fascinated by it. I honestly didn't understand why. All I know is that memories I held close to my heart, and please tell me this is a real memory, which I told her it was. And I do remember. I remember we all went to really high pier. Big Papa pulled out his fishing rod. We went fishing for a moment. I've never fished before. I remember taking over the rod and I caught my first fish. It was big. Big Papa had to take over. I always remember Big Papa's stories. I truly looked up to him and always will. I will always miss him and Big Nanny. At least they're together in paradise now. He lived a long, loving life and will always be loved and deeply missed. He always told me no matter what I do, go through with it, it'll make me stronger, and with that, I will live a long life just like him. He never treated me differently because I wasn't his DNA. And that's another reason I love him so much. Family isn't always blood. This is from Carol, Dave Stickles, which is our first cousins. That was Joe's girl. Our loving thoughts and sympathy are with you. I fondly remember our summer holidays in Quebec, and especially family time we spent with you at Duck Lake. I will always remember your dad as a kind and loving uncle, sending all of you warm thoughts and love. This is from Bonnie, who's her older sister. I have a lot of fond memories, and our holidays spent with family in Quebec. Both of our dads had a smile that really warmed the heart, and they will never be forgotten. My love to you all and your families. This is from his wife, Beulah, and Joanne Judy, who are twins, same family. Loving thoughts are with you and family at this time. I've never forgotten your mom and dad's kindness and thoughtfulness, inviting me to stay with them while Uncle Joe was in Korea. It helped to be close to his family. Your dad took me to a movie one evening. We went east with them, and we enjoyed visits with them, especially out at the lake. Families are special with warm love. And the last one is Kelly McKittrick, who is Ethel's and that's Dad's sister. I just fall down. This is a little long. Anyways, I have many fond memories of Uncle Jimmy. Kelly used to come visit Dad quite often. Mom used to always talk about Uncle Jimmy's love of fly fishing and him and Uncle Buddy's practice on the road on Willard Street. Target casting in the springtime before fishing. One of my first and most fond memories of fishing was out at Duck Lake with Papa, Dad, and Uncle Jimmy. I still have one of Papa's fishing license from the 1940s that Nana had. Patty was looking for it, but with everything still in boxes, we couldn't find it right now. I want to pass it along to Skip. It was always a highlight when Uncle Jimmy came through town on business. I remember how proud Mom was when Uncle Jimmy wrote a letter for Dad to get him a discount on new tires at Unilock. She really looked up to him. I remember stopping at your house in Montreal when we were driving down to Nana's. Mom would always get excited when we got close. She had lots of stories, and she always had a huge smile when we talked about Uncle Jimmy. The old dining room table from Nana's house is in our daughter Sarah's house. There are 3 leaves to expand the table, and one of them had a crack in it from the kids using it as a toboggan to go down the main stairs at Willard Street. Every time she took out the leaves, she would tell a story about how much fun they had growing up playing with each other. She also used to tell stories about him coming home when they lived at the old house, picking onions out of the garden on his way to hide the smell of cigarettes smoke on the floor. Sounds like that. She really admired him, and it rubbed off on all of us. That's the end of that, and I just wanted everybody help yourself to food and drink, and we're here to celebrate a great man, in my view, and thank you all for coming. Thank you. And anybody else